everybody.
Hello.
My name is Shannon.
I'm Alyssa.
Welcome back to another episode of B Movie Bash.
B Movie Bash.
The podcast where we bash things.
Yes.
Not just movies.
Not just movies.
But mostly movies.
Mostly movies.
Are we bashing a movie this week?
No.
What?
We're not. No. So listen. Okay.
Are we getting burnt out?
No. I watched a movie.
Uh-huh.
I did not have any time to take my notes.
Okay.
So I tried today while I was at work, and it was just too busy, and I couldn't.
Okay.
And I'm really sorry.
Oh, you're
fine. So
I've
been just.
It's been a rough weekend,
yes.
So I'm okay with whatever you want to do.
Good. Yes. So we're going to be doing a few more. Am I the asshole?
Yeah! I actually was thinking that it would be fun to collaborate on an episode one time and both read them back and forth so we can see who finds the best one.
That would be way fun.
Yeah.
We should do that. Should totally do that.
I've been digging, so hopefully I haven't read any of these.
I almost wrote one myself, but I don't know if the person I would write it about would be listening. So.
I mean, we could.
It's not my husband.
Could we bleep it, or would it be way too situational?
Way too situational.
Dang it. Okay.
I can tell you after.
Okay.
Yes. But
all right. So, I'm excited.
Yeah. So I only read a couple of these. I just made sure that they weren't the ones that you read because I want to kind of be surprised as well.
Yeah.
So
okay. So you just looked at the titles?
Yeah, I looked at the titles and I kind of browsed through them a little bit to see. A couple of them are longer, and then I have a couple of shorter ones. So
okay.
So the first one, I the asshole for likely making my mother lose custody of my siblings.
Oh, yes.
So, in 2018, my mother got married to a man she was cheating on my dad with for years.
Ooh.
This already put a serious dent in the relationship I had with her. I moved out shortly after my stepdad moved in, since he thought he suddenly owned everything in the house, including my work computer, PlayStation 4, etc. A few months after moving out, my brother, 18, called me in the middle of the night because our stepdad threw him out for stealing money and catching him in possession of hard drugs, all of which were and still are lies.
What the?
I know.
Okay.
I already had minimal contact with my mother by that point, and the day my brother moved in with me, I was met with a barrage of texts and calls of my stepdad that I had to bring my brother back with the money or else he'd come and get him.
Oh.
I told him to shove it and to try me.
That's you.
Right? Fast forward until last year, they divorced because, surprise, he stole the money. He was also an alcoholic and drug addict and admitted to planting the drugs in my brother's room. After the divorce and getting a restraining order, he started harassing neighbors, showed up in the garden in the middle of the night to look through their windows, showed up at my sister's, 12 at the time, school. Oh. She's still in therapy over this.
Yeah.
It was also discovered that he's blacklisted in every bank in the country from starting loans because of massive debt.
Wow.
The relationship with our mother started healing a bit after this. Through our younger brother, we found out she wasn't home for 3 days straight. So my 18-year-old brother called her. After some beating around the bush, she tells him she's with our ex-stepdad again. Mm-hmm. My brother hangs up and texts me this. After subduing my rage, I asked my 16-year-old brother and younger sister, now 14, if they still want to live there. They both say no. And I tell my father. About a week later, she served legal documents that state my father is trying to get full custody of my siblings because of my mother's actions. And according to her own lawyer, there's a high chance she'll lose them. Yeah. She calls me in a panic and I tell her it's her own fault. She starts crying and screaming that I should be happy that she finally found true love. I ask her if it's worth it to lose all of her children over this, and she responds with insults towards me, my brothers, my now fiancé. I tell her to never contact me again and hang up. I haven't heard from her since, but I've heard from other people that she's heartbroken about that she's about to lose her children, but she also blames us and keeps telling everyone that her kids don't want her to be happy and they're always on their dad's side. Now I'm asking whether or not I'm the asshole for cutting her out of my life. I'm fairly convinced it's the best thing for me personally, but I think I might have gone a little too far by giving my father more ammo, on top of what he already had, to take my siblings from my mother. I think it's the best for them. I just want to look out for them.
Yeah, I feel like if she hadn't called her dad, how would he have known
exactly
to, make that move?
Yeah.
He absolutely needed to know.
Oh, he needed to know. And if your kids are home by themselves, listen, I was babysitting other people's kids when I was 8.
They can take care of themselves.
Sure. But for 3 whole days? What if something happened?
Yeah.
What if, like, one of them had some kind of allergic reaction or something happened and that they needed to be taken to the hospital? They're not going to know what to do fully.
No.
Like,
they're not going to have their insurance cards. They're
Exactly.
not going to have money. They're not going to, like, what?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It upsets me how often parents pick their significant other over their children.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I work in child and family services,
Mm-hmm.
and so often parents come in gung-ho and they're like, I'm gonna, get off the drugs, or I'm gonna do all the treatment, I'm gonna do whatever, and I'm gonna get my kids back. And then, like, the boyfriend comes back in,
Mm-hmm.
and they just throw it all away.
Yep.
And they're just like, they can be adopted. I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Is wrong with you?
I know, and I'm a person that I fully believe that you're, like, it should go your spouse, your children kind of thing, because that's your other half. That's the person you're supposed to be trusting completely.
You need to create a foundation with someone, yeah.
Like, that's the person you should be trusting completely to then, like,
raise your
children. Yeah. And, like, because I'm sure I said this already, but, like, so many times, it was my dad being like, don't talk to my wife like that.
Yeah.
Like, that's my wife. Like, not that I ever really talked back, but, like, if we ever talked back, that was the conversation, Yeah. But at the same time, my dad was fiercely protective of us.
Yeah.
And he would tell my mom off sometimes if he thought that she was in the wrong.
Yeah.
So, like, I just think, and I mean, my mom would do the same, but, like, it's just, you need to have that, like, it's insane to me that the spouses do that. And, like, how many people bring just these fucking weird people into your house that you don't fucking know, and they end up murdering your kids.
Yeah. Like, we had, I probably shouldn't talk too much into detail, but we had this one case with a mom and her 2 daughters, and the little girls said that the boyfriend, like, did things, right? And so she was like, I'm done with him, blah, blah, blah. Had another baby with him.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And then she was like, no, really, I'm done. I did my treatment. I'm done with him. And we just got a new, like, CPS call because she's back with him and he's in the home. And I'm like, lady, you have 3 little girls.
How is he not in jail?
Because they couldn't prove, like, verify. Yeah, because the kids are small enough that they were like, yeah. I know.
People suck, man. Yeah. People suck.
I love my husband. But if anything were to ever happen, he'd be out the freaking door.
Yeah.
Gone.
We'd be doing some Dixie Chicks.
Yes. Someone had to die.
And he's my left side, okay? So there's
it.
like...
I hate it.
Yeah.
But I get it.
I would murder that man.
Yeah.
So...
yeah. Sorry.
But, yeah.
Okay, next.
Okay, so, am I the asshole for not allowing my girlfriend's sister to move in and change the locks?
Okay.
So, a really messy situation. I, 27 male, have been dating my girlfriend, Ashton, 26 female, for 2 years, and we live in a house that I own. Ashton's finishing up her master's program, so I don't charge her rent. I pay for all the housing expenses, and in return, she chips in on groceries, utilities, and some of the household chores. But I pay the lion's share. Sorry, that it's
the lion's share.
I'm pretty sure it's supposed to be lions. It's spelled wrong.
I mean, unless they have other arrangements.
Maybe. But I pay the lion's share of all household expenses. I'm cool with this situation until she graduates, and we have always communicated well until now, which I think is a great, like, it's way understanding.
It's kind of like stay-at-home mom situation. Like, if you're going to be doing this job, quote unquote, then I will be paying for whatever.
Exactly. Like, and like a master's, like
that's a lot of work.
That's a lot of work. Yeah.
Like,
so
if the pay wasn't equal, be like, yeah, I can pick up more bills than you, obviously. Like that, at least she's contributing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Ashton has a hot mess of a sister named Anna, 28 female. Yeah. Anna has burned most of her bridges with her family. She has 2 kids by 2 different dads, been married and divorced twice, hops from one sketchy boyfriend to another, always in and out of work, always complaining about her situation instead of actually doing anything to solve it. I gave up on her last year when she dated this loser who obviously didn't like kids, and she kept dating him against me and her sister's advice. Well, she moved into his place, and this Saturday we got a call that they were breaking up, and she had nowhere to go this time. She hadn't been working and didn't have rent money. Ashton asked me if we could take them in. I said absolutely not. Her sister was a leech. Also, that I don't want kids in my house. I work from home half of the time and don't want 3 extra people in my space. Also, I don't want to get involved with her sister at all. I supported her plenty over the last few years, rides, babysitting, etc., and I'm done. My girlfriend didn't take this well and said we should help her sister, or she would help her sister if she could. I said, fine, let me know where you take her and I'll buy some food, but it won't be my house. My girlfriend tried saying it was her house too. I said that when she started paying the mortgage, she can decide who lives here.
Oh.
So her sister tried calling me individually. I told her the same reasons, and I told her I'd bring by food when she finds a place. I also gave her the number of multiple organizations that could help her. She got offended. Well, I was at work yesterday, and I noticed on my Ring camera, Anna and her kids unlocking my front door with a bag on her shoulder. I called my girlfriend and asked her immediately what was going on. She said Anna needed a place to go for a few hours while her ex moved out of the apartment. I asked how she got in the house as I locked it. Ashton said that she made Anna a key months ago in case she ever needed to get in.
Oh, no.
I was furious and told her to tell Anna to get out or I'd call the police. Ashton called and Anna left, not before calling me an asshole. So I decided today to change the locks and get a new garage access code.
I thought you were going to say a new girlfriend.
Oh, yeah. Ashton will have to request access through the garage and I will give access. Ashton is upset, but I told her that this is going to be the way it is until her sister finds a place. Because I can't trust I won't come home and find 2 kids and a woman living in my house. Am I the asshole?
I think some of the things that he said were not the best. But I understand where he's coming from. Because, I mean, you know, it is both of their home.
Yeah.
Sure. But also, you made her a key and you didn't tell him. And you let her into the house without telling him.
When he said, I really don't want her here,
Like, he had valid reasons, obviously. Like, she's not...
Yeah, it's not just, man, I don't want her and her kids.
I don't like her.
Nah. She clearly is not the best of people. And, and listen, I get family. Like, you really, you want to help them. But,
But for how long? And how much? And, I was gonna say something. What was it? Oh, I feel like if the girlfriend had called him and had been like, hey, she's gonna keep the apartment, but she needs somewhere to go for just, half the day while he moves out. Like, just be upfront.
Yeah, exactly.
Why does that need to be an issue?
Yeah.
Or then say, I gave her a key and let her in. I mean, that's still a lie, but at least, I don't know.
And how many times has she, maybe possibly gone in the house without him knowing?
Yeah.
I mean, he has a Ring camera, so there's that, so he might actually have seen it. But,
yeah.
Well, what if you came home one day and all your shit was gone? Because she decided to break in and steal it.
Or, a wad of cash that you had hidden somewhere was gone. Or,
Yeah.
That's sticky. So, I mean, maybe asshole for the way he handled it, but not for the reasons.
Yeah, not for the reasons,
I guess.
But maybe the way he handled it.
A little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, next one. Am I the asshole for refusing to pay for my niece's contact lens?
Okay. One?
Oh, contact lenses.
Oh.
Sorry.
It's this is a 3-eye situation again, or what?
So my sister came to me and asked for $700 for my niece last year to get contact lenses for a year. They had financial difficulties, and my niece really wanted them, but they couldn't afford them. I'm not rich, but I haven't visited them in years due to living in another country, so I've missed a few Christmases, so I agreed. I would cover her optometrist visit and contacts for a year. I sent her the money via e-transfer, expecting her to do all the legwork to get the contacts.
You should have called the doctor's office and be like, here's what I'll cover, friend.
Yeah. So fast forward a few weeks, I asked if she likes them, the contacts, and she confirmed she does, but doesn't elaborate. Finally, with travel restrictions lifting, I went to visit my family and friends. My sister lives in another city than everyone else, and it was a last-minute trip, so I didn't really warn her because I wasn't sure I could visit her. I couldn't get a hold of her, so I called her husband, who confirmed they were home. One of my friends canceled, so I rented a car and drove to the next state. She greeted me, but didn't want me to go inside. I was so confused, but luckily her husband saw me too and welcomed me in. I met the kids and their new dog, and saw my niece still had glasses on, and asked if she gave up the contacts because they were scratchy or drying. She looked at me like I had 3 heads and said she had never gotten contacts.
Oh, boy.
My sister has looked very uncomfortable, and I was so confused, saying I sent money so she could get contacts. Her husband looked at her, and for a minute before asking the kids to go up to their rooms.
The husband didn't know?
Nope.
Oh, man.
Turns out my sister used the money to bring home a dog she wanted during the pandemic. She told her husband that she found the dog, and it was probably a runaway with no chip and a collar, but in reality, she had paid for it. I was upset I got duped into giving her the money for a dog they shouldn't have had, according to her husband, because they were having trouble covering the vet bills, but knowing she also paid for the dog with my money caused them to get into a fight in front of me. I walked out and was pissed, but finished my trip. My sister called me a month ago to ask me for more money to pay for my niece's contacts for real this time. Great. For real this time. But I'm out of goodwill and told her to save up for it, and she started crying, saying her husband is blaming her for wasting the money, and she wanted to make it right by buying the contacts now. I told her to pick up some waitressing shifts to cover the cost. She was a waitress, now a stay-at-home mom, and she yelled at me for being the asshole for not being willing to pay for the contacts.
Bitch, sell your dog.
Mm-hmm. Like, this is coming from someone who loves my pets.
Yeah.
I would never do that.
That's garbage.
That's
you
garbage.
are a garbage human.
Yep.
What in the world? And, like, how much she lied to her husband?
Mm-hmm.
And your poor little kid is over here with her glasses?
Did she never think that it was going to come to light? Like, that's so...
I mean, he lives in another country, so...
But it's a dog!
Yeah. I wonder if it was, like, a super expensive one. Or, like... Because that's a lot of money.
$700? Yeah.
Yeah. That's a decently, you know, like... good dog breed. I don't know. But...
yeah.
Oh, you are not the asshole.
Right.
Wow. I cannot even believe that she had the audacity.
But for her to be like, oh, but you won't pay for your niece's contact lenses now. That's your kid, sorry.
Yeah,
like,
fuck you.
Like, there's a lot I would do for my sisters and their kids.
Yeah.
And for you guys and your kids, there's a lot I would do. I don't know if I have $700 to just give you guys to do contacts.
God, that's my thing is, like, half of these are like, I shelled out $2,000. I'm like, what?
Yep.
What am I doing wrong?
Yep.
That's what I want to know because, I mean, all my money goes to Disneyland. Who are we kidding? But, like...
It's true. But, yeah.
That's nuts.
I just get so frustrated with, like, some of those. Because I'm just like, that's asking a lot of money from your family.
Yeah. I would have to be so desperate. Mm-hmm. So desperate.
I know, and it would have to be a thing, like, because I've borrowed money from my dad before, but it's mostly like I blew a tire and I didn't have the money to pay for the tire right then.
Yeah.
So I would start paying my dad back for things.
Yeah.
But, like, he expected us to pay him back.
Oh, yeah.
It was never...
He would, like, write up a contract.
Yeah. The only, like, I mean, he never charged us, obviously, for growing up as kids.
Yeah.
But he bought all of us our very first vehicles. And he didn't expect us to pay back for that, but anything after that, we had to pay back for. Yeah. Like, anytime we had to do car maintenance on the car, we had to pay for it, or things like that, you know?
Yeah.
All of our cars were shit, but, like, you know, like, it's...
Was yours your truck?
It was my truck.
Aww.
My little Chevy POS.
That one was... It was.
Yes.
That was a work.
My Chevrolet.
Yes.
I just loved it because the sign was spelt with a B. It was cute.
Yeah.
So... But, yeah, that was a piece of work. Like, I'm still so mad it was never in the clunker of the month.
Yeah, it should have been.
Yeah, it should have been.
Yeah.
Like, everyone else was like, yeah, you know, my windows won't roll down, and my...
It's from 1990.
Yeah,
like, okay.
I'm like, I don't even know what year mine was.
No.
I have no idea what year it was. No, because that's after we graduated. Yeah, I have no idea. But yeah, just a little piece of crap. And I'm like, this speedometer doesn't even work. Like, I have to smack it with my shoe to get it to work sometimes. And even then it doesn't.
I'm just going with the people around me.
That's exactly what I would do. And at night I was so scared to drive it. Like,
it was fun.
Yep. Okay, next one. Am I the asshole for forcing my son to get a job after he stole $100 from me?
Oh.
No.
Okay.
I am a father of 2 sons, a 19-year-old and a 17-year-old. Every month or two, depending on finances, I'm usually able to save around $100 to go to thrift shops, usually to find some vinyl records for my collection. However, my oldest son found it prudent to steal my money and spend it on his girlfriend. The lie fell through, and I told him that as punishment, he was going to get a job so that he could pay me back. When he pays me back, he can either quit or continue working and keep the money he would earn after. Unfortunately, things have gotten worse since this decision. My son refuses to even talk to me, and when he does, it's usually to say that my punishment is unfair and that I went too far.
Sir.
Yeah.
Child, sir.
Yeah.
I'm guessing it's the 17-year-old.
It's got to be, because the 19-year-old should already have a job, you'd think. Like,
and if you're living at home... Like, I had a job at 16. Mm-hmm. It was a summer job, but I still had my own money.
Yeah. No, my very first job I had to get because I got in a car accident and had to fix it. Like, so...
Yeah. It's $100, dude.
Yeah.
Like, most of lawns.
Yeah.
Or something. If you don't want to commit.
Yeah.
Like, you can figure it out. Because you... Especially... spending it on his girlfriend. Mm-hmm. Like, I could almost see if he was like, I really wanted to play football. And I spent it on football. Or like, I don't know. You know.
Something.
There are better things. Yeah. But where it was like, oh yeah, I spent it on my girlfriend. Like,
but my favorite is I was reading some of the comments that were back on this. And some of the people were saying that this was completely unfair to the son. Because it's basically teaching his son that whatever money he was making, that $100, he's going to steal it back from him.
No. That's called paying it back, and it's different, it's dummies.
But they're all fucking children, so, like, they're all like, no, you can't just, like, take his money like that. And I'm like,
do you know what a loan is?
But they were like, he's the dad, he's supposed to give him money. And I'm like, that is not how that works.
No.
That's not how that works.
Because he's probably paying for everything else.
Mm-hmm. And like, you know, rent, and food, and internet, and
school,
and your clothing, and
like, give him his vinyl records, man.
I know.
Jeez.
It drives me crazy when some people are just like, well, parents should be, you know, spending money on their children. And I'm like, you don't become not a person anymore once you have kids. Yeah. Like, you are still who you are.
You still have needs and desires and wants and things.
And that's how you stay a good parent. Like, it's like...
being an adult and being your own person. And, like, I could see if it was, like, $20. Mm-hmm. Like, they were like, oh, there's $20 on the nightstand. How did that get there? Like, don't. But, like... yeah. That would be a little more understandable. Yeah. Than $100.
$100.
That's a chunk. Especially where you know that he's, like... setting that money aside specifically to spend on himself.
Yeah.
Rude.
Yeah, when I'm sure the kids probably, like, I was never a kid that had, what's an allowance? Yeah, I didn't have an allowance.
Me neither.
But, if we wanted to go to a movie or something, I would like, hey, Dad, can I have some money to go to a movie? What can I do to get that extra, like, money? And he would be like, yeah, sure. Well, the backyard needs to be cleaned up a little bit from the dog. Go do that. And so I'd go do that. And he'd give me, like, whatever money I needed to pay for the movie and maybe a couple snacks.
$4.50 to
like,
see a movie.
Exactly. Oh, my gosh. Used to be so nice, so cheap. Or he'd be like, well, you could do this and you could do this. And that would be great. And, like, I would just do the extra things. Like, I had my normal chores. And that's how I lived. Yeah. I had chores. And I didn't get paid for it.
Yeah.
So, like...
contribute to the house. Because you live there.
Because I live there.
And you're a filthy teenager.
Yeah. You know what I had to do? I had to dust and vacuum. That was all I ever had to do.
Wow.
Like, yeah. Like,
now we have to do it all.
I know. Do I? Not really.
but you know. Yeah. It's there.
It's there.
So, eventually you will.
I have to get my baseboards. They're all fucking dusty.
Yeah.
All right, the next one. This one's a little bit longer, too. Okay. So, am I the asshole for refusing to change my nephew's nappy? Which is diaper. Yeah. This happened yesterday, and my family is split. I'm 25 female, visiting my family in my home country. I moved away around 6 years ago and haven't visited since 2020. I've arrived yesterday, and we've planned a family gathering at my sister's 34 females house. She has 2 sons, a 3-year-old and a 1-year-old. I also have another sister, mom to a 9-year-old and a 5-year-old, as well as a younger sister who's 16. We all met at my sister's house yesterday. My parents, sisters, both brother-in-laws, all the kiddos, and my grandparents. This is not unusual for us. We do it a lot as a family ever since I was little. We meet at someone's house for the day for a barbecue or something similar. I brought gifts for all my nibblings, which is apparently a real word.
Yeah.
I didn't know it was a word.
Have you never heard of it?
No.
Oh.
Not till now. I didn't know that nibblings was a word. And I was like, that's nieces cute. And nephews. I love that. Yeah. So I have a lot, so I'm going to start saying that.
There you go.
We played sports and games in the backyard and went to the park. Myself and the 9, 5, and 3-year-old, the smallest one, was napping. After we came back from the park, they got to watch a movie while the adults were hanging out. The 1-year-old woke up, and my sister picked him up after my brother-in-law brought him down from the bedroom. She said to him in a baby voice, "Oh, did you get smelly again?" indicating he pooed his nappy, and then handed him towards me saying, "Here, Auntie, we'll change you."
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Mind you, this is the first day I've met the smallest kiddo, and he's pretty shy around me. He gave me a couple of high fives, but I haven't held him yet at that point. He immediately started crying. Of course, he was barely awake and being handed to essentially a stranger. I pulled my hands back and said I don't feel comfortable doing that, especially because he's screaming and grabbing my sister while she's trying to force him into my hands, saying it's okay and he'll calm down. At this point, I was panicking. My sister was shouting over my nephew crying, my mom talking behind me, and my other sister trying to stop all of the other kids who came to see what was the commotion about. I put I put up my hands behind my back and kept repeating I'm not comfortable with this and don't know how to change a baby on my own. Heck, I don't even know where the nappies get changed in their house. I've never changed any of my nibbling. I'm always visiting. I was never even asked. My sister loudly proclaimed she'll do it on her own and walked away with my nephew still crying. My mom told me I should have just took him and get him changed, that I've upset my nephew. My grandma said I should know how to change a nappy at this age and that it's rude that I'm not helping my sisters. My brother-in-law said that my sister shouldn't have forced me and my nephew into this, and then they started fighting too. I'm not sure if I'm the asshole and if my refusal upset him. Am I the asshole for refusing to change his nappy?
No.
No.
If that's not something you're comfortable with, then, like, it would have been one thing if the sister was like, hey, auntie, like, you want to take up your duty, you know, like, do the thing, but, like, just being like, oh, here, she'll change you.
I know. You should never just assume that.
No.
Like,
and as the mom, like, once your kid started feeling uncomfortable, like, maybe just take him back and do it yourself. Or be like, okay, grandma, your turn. Or, like, something.
And being a, childless person.
Yeah.
I hate when people just are like, oh, you'll do it.
No.
Like, no.
No, I won't. No. That's your kid.
So that's your child, exactly. That's your kid. Like, I've definitely changed diapers before. I really don't mind. It's not that big of a deal.
Yeah.
If you were in the middle of doing something, absolutely, I'd be like, yeah, I gotcha.
Yeah.
Yep. No worries.
But you can't, don't tell me to do it.
Don't just force them onto me. Yeah.
Be like, hey, I'm really busy with this other child having a meltdown.
That would be me. That would be me taking my dog outside to go potty, then handing you a baggie and being like, go pick it up.
Yeah.
Like, how is that the same?
You haven't been around. Go pick up my dog's poop.
Yeah.
It totally is.
Yeah, it's the exact same thing. And people are going to be like, babies and dogs aren't the same. It's the same concept.
Same principle.
It's the same principle.
Yeah.
So.
No. That's a weird situation.
Exactly. I think that's.
And I get that, like, maybe she should know how to change a diaper at this point. But, like.
You probably should. But.
Yeah. If she hasn't been around, like, she hasn't had the opportunity. Like, some dudes never change a diaper until they have their own child.
Yeah.
You know, in their, like, late 20s or whatever. So, like...
I don't know if Zach knows how to. See? He might because his mom ran a daycare when he was a kid. So he, I'm sure, knows the concept.
Yeah.
But I don't think he...
ever did it.
Yeah, I don't think he ever did it himself.
Hope not.
Well, he does have younger siblings, too, so he maybe have helped out.
Yeah.
But, like, it's been fucking how many years now? Like, since his youngest sister's 20?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, I feel like that could have been handled much better.
Yeah. It would have been totally different if you're just like, hey, could you please, like, sorry, I'm right in the middle of talking to, like, you know.
Yeah, or my 3-year-old's over here crying or hurt or something. Like...
Also, why didn't the brother-in-law just do it himself?
Or why didn't Dad?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, why didn't he just do it? Yeah, like, he could have very well just done it.
Yeah.
Like...
That's stupid.
Yeah, I mean, I guess if he didn't realize that his diaper needed to be changed, but, like, at that point I would have been like, oh, give him back, I'll do it.
Yeah. Like, apparently everyone is coming because of the commotion, so everyone in the house could have volunteered.
Yep,
also,
anyone else could have.
While she's sitting there panicking, being like, I'm not... Like, that she voiced that she wasn't comfortable with it. Like, instead of just being like, no, I'm not going to do that.
Well, and there's plenty of people that just do not like the smell of poop. They just can't do it. Like,
or, like, maybe don't want to touch your children's bathing suit parts. Or, you know, like, there's just a lot.
There's a lot.
It's loaded, okay?
Yep.
There's a lot there.
Yep. Okay, next one. Am I the asshole for throwing my girlfriend's brother out?
Oh.
My girlfriend, 28, female, and I, 27, male, have been together for 4 years now. We've been through struggle after struggle, and 2 years into our relationship, we finally had a house of our own and a vehicle. Shortly after we moved into our new apartment, her brother, 21, male, called asking for a place to stay, saying he had nowhere to go. We agreed to take him in if he went to work with me and agreed on a $200 a month rent. I let him use my vehicle free of charge as long as he left me enough gas to get to work and back. A better deal than I've ever been given.
Yeah. This is... Okay. Where do I sign up?
So a year goes by and he managed to save about $5,000. I told him repeatedly to put a down payment on a vehicle. He didn't listen and got fired from the job we were working at the time. Rather than immediately finding work, he said, I've got $5,000, the rent will be paid, so what's the matter if I take a month off work? What do you know? A month later, his whole savings was gone on weed and DoorDash.
Oh, bro.
Basically, we cut this kid the best deal we could, and he outright wasted it. We went without basic essentials for him to be able to waste that money.
Right.
Time goes, and we both started a new job. He managed to save some money, save some more money, about $2,000 this time. Again, I told him to spend it on a vehicle, and again, he blew it all. This time, he blew it on 3 pairs of basketball shoes, just 2 days ago. We told him that it was a bad decision. He needed to return them and get the vehicle while he has the money, but he ignored everything we said. All this leads up to last night when he blew up. When it blew up. There was nothing notable about the day, just a calm Saturday with nothing to do. The best kind if you ask me. Later in the night, I couldn't sleep due to some aches and pains from working, so I got up to get a snack. I crept through the living room to get it as quietly as I could, out of respect for the guy not having his own room. When I got back to the bedroom with my ice cream, he sends a text to my girlfriend saying, I'm not going to pay $200 a month if I'm not allowed to sleep. He came at her with such a level of disrespect, it makes me mad to think about it. She showed me the text, and I got up right away and went directly to confront him. I unloaded it all. The $5,000 he blew on creature comforts, the further $2,000 he blew on shoes, the fact that he had the audacity to be so disrespectful after all we sacrificed to give him a good setup to start his life. I told him if he ain't paying, he ain't staying, and that's that. I'm not his daddy and have zero obligation to take care of a bratty teenager in a grown man's body, so I told him to get out. Now my girlfriend is upset with me, saying I shouldn't have been so mean, that he has nobody to turn to and nowhere to go. I kind of feel badly for that, but at the same time, I really did everything I could to set him up, and can't help letting myself get burned trying to help someone who won't help themselves. Am I the asshole?
No, because guess what? Even if he has nowhere to go and no money to go anywhere, guess whose fucking fault that is?
Right?
His.
Yeah.
The shoe thing would make me so angry. Mm-hmm. I mean, the weed thing also. But, like, bro, I'd be so pissed.
Yeah. I just, like, for me, the sheer fact that he had the audacity to be rude to the sister, too. Like, that's...
And then for her to be like, oh, why'd you have to be so mean? Yeah. Like, why does that always... Like, you should be upset.
Yeah.
You should also be mad. Like, why are you not more mad?
You should not be talking to me like that. No. That's not okay. Like, I'm literally giving you a place to stay, and $200 a month is crazy cheap rent.
Yeah.
Like,
for any year, anytime, anywhere.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah. And that frustrates the hell out of me. And for him to, like, refuse to get a vehicle of his own.
Yeah.
Like.
Or, like, if it was me, instead of, like, the vehicle thing, I would be like, okay, go get an apartment.
Yeah.
Right the fuck now. Or go find roommates.
Go find roommates. Now. Yeah. You clearly can pay $200 a month.
Yep.
You should be getting roommates.
Yep.
So.
Go on friggin' Craigslist.
Yep.
I don't care.
Go find that guy who's lactose intolerant and, like.
You can eat each other's food and mooch off of each other and get high all day.
Great.
Ugh.
All right. Ready for another one?
Yes.
Okay. Am I the asshole for locking out my roommate's girlfriend and letting her sleep outside all night?
Oh, shit. Okay.
I've been living in a small suite dorm. The way our room is set up, it's a single room with the beds on each side. Our door leads to a small foyer that leads outside. The door from outside to the foyer locks when closed and can only be unlocked with a room key. Mm-hmm. So my roommate has a girlfriend over all the time. Like, she's been in our room for the last 3 months, and it hasn't been fun. She's unpleasant to live with, and I only paid to have one roommate. My room charge is $4,000 unless she wants to kick in for living there. She needs to get out.
That's per semester.
I think it is.
But like, even still, that's a lot of money. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry.
No, you're okay. However, I tried to be nice, so I made a deal with him. If she cleaned up after her regularly and she was not here, if he wasn't, I wouldn't say anything to the RA. He's been okay with cleaning, but he lets her stay there when he's not there. Like, if he's at class for an hour, he'll leave her there. It bothers me.
That's so weird.
That's so weird.
This is my room.
Yeah.
No.
I don't know or trust this girl, and I'd prefer not to be alone in a bedroom with a random chick I don't know. I don't want to get accused of anything or something like that. I just don't feel safe alone with her. I also don't like her being alone in my room because I don't know if she'll eat my food or not. So this weekend, my roommate went home, and she was supposed to have left. I get back to my room from the library at about 11, and I order some food to my room for dinner. I'm eating, and around 1 o'clock in the morning, I hear banging on the outside door. I check in, and it's her asking me to let her in. She's very clearly drunk as a skunk and dirty, so I assumed She walked here. I tell her, no, for obvious reasons. She started banging on the door. I ignored it again. Eventually, I was able to fall asleep. I woke up in the morning at around 7, and when this person is not very good. And when I went outside for a run, she was still there, slumped against the wall. I woke her up and she laid into me, told me how much of a dick I am and how dangerous making her sleep outside was. I told her I have no responsibility over her and she should have gone to her own place.
She has her own place?
Yes.
Okay, I was full on ready to be like, well, she went out and got drunk with someone.
Yeah.
So, like, if it was girlfriends, she obviously had a place to be.
Yeah.
But if she has her own place, you're lucky I didn't call the police, bitch.
Right?
You do not live here. What? Oh, man.
Well, this one's gonna be good.
Okay. Oh, no.
Am I the asshole for intentionally pouring wine over a bride's wedding gown?
Oh.
Hear me out before you blindly say that I'm the asshole.
Okay.
So 2 weeks ago, my 31 female BFF Katie,
Oh gosh,
32 female, got married to Matt, 35 male. I was the maid of honor and was very involved in the wedding planning. I love Katie to death.
I'm sorry.
Right, I love Katie to death and took my duties as maid of honor very seriously. I did my best to make sure Katie had the wedding of her dreams, but the thing is, Katie thinks her wedding was ruined because of me.
Oh boy.
Katie, for her wedding day, chose one of those 2-in-1 gowns that switches between a massive tulle ball gown for the wedding and a slinky-type mermaid gown for the reception because it has a detachable tulle skirt layer. That's super smart. I didn't know they had those. Yeah. That's amazing. Mm-hmm. Katie is a very showy and extra person, something that I adore about her. So she decided that during the reception, she'd stepped out of her detachable tulle skirt and revealed the underlying mermaid gown in a very dramatic fashion in front of the guests. It was very on brand for her to decide that she was going to do something dramatic with the costume change, and I was fully supportive of this idea. We tried to brainstorm reveals ideas together, and she came up with one that was very risky, but as dramatic and sensational as Katie herself. She wanted me to accidentally spill wine all over her skirt and act panicked and horrified by my own clumsiness, while she'd act like she's very mad at me. And when the commotion it would cause is at its peak, she'll unsnap her tulle skirt and let it fall to reveal the inner reception dress. I was skeptical at first, but I finally agreed because it's a very Katie thing to do, and I didn't want to stifle her dramatization. The day of the wedding came, and the moment of the costume change arrived. I spilled wine on her skirt. It wasn't a lot, but it was a substantial amount. As predicted, there was a hurried commotion to help out the bride, and we did our part with the acting. People were convinced, and I assumed that Katie didn't want to drag out the acting bit for more than a few seconds, but she seemed intent on fully selling the act, so I started to worry and touched the buckle of the back to tell her that she should remove it now, which she did. But it was too late. A good amount of wine had already seeped through and stained the dress. Oh. It was a cringy moment, to be honest, since the reveal was a total fail. And to make things worse, the groom's friends started laughing at her, and Katie was very upset. I tried to console her the best I can, and even mentioned that this would be a funny story for family dinners in my maid of honor speech, and honestly thought that she'd gotten over it since she had fun that night. But 2 weeks later, Katie is still mad at me. I thought we talked it out before she left for her honeymoon, but nope, she's still mad and wants an apology. I told her this was essentially her fault, not mine, and won't be taking responsibility for it. This was her idea, and her doing that caused the wine to seep through. She got frustrated with me and said I was being a horrible friend, and apparently all of Katie's family agreed. So now I'm confused if I'm the asshole or not. Edit. This seems like relevant information. The wine I spilt was red, which is probably why she's very mad, since it's a stain that's blatant and obvious.
Sweetheart. Mm-hmm. Bestie friend. You asked for this.
Yep.
What?
Also, I would never in my life be like, oh yeah, come at me with wine on my dress that I probably spent way more money on than anybody should be spending money on dresses. Yeah. So like,
especially when it's a 2-in-1 like that. Like that's fancy shit.
Yep.
And like, I like how she had to mention that it was red wine because like, she's not going to spill white wine on a white dress. Yeah. That doesn't make any sense.
I mean, at that point, I would have just been like, oops, white wine, but it's water. Like, that would have been whatever. Like, I guess,
yeah. But no one would have been as worried.
Freaked out, yeah.
But like, why are you mad?
Yeah.
I thought for a second that she was gonna, like, take it too far and, like, make it super dramatic in the moment or something, but she...
You asked for it, that's all I'm saying. Yep.
Yeah.
That's...
No, you're not the asshole. You just did what you were told as the maid of honor. That's what the duties entailed.
Right.
So that's what you did. Maybe your friend is just a bitch.
Right. Sorry. Am I the asshole for filing a police report against my nephew?
Oh.
My mom has late-stage Alzheimer's and has been unable to manage her money and needs around-the-clock care. Oh. It probably would be safer to put her in a nursing home, but she made us promise to only do that as a last resort. Thankfully, she has a lot of investments and savings from my dad before he passed, so we can get her a hired personal carer in her own home. My sister is the one who lives the closest and visits her often, so she's handled mom's finances. We give my sister $200 a month each for her to run errands and help look after my mom since we both live out of state. My other sister called me to tell me there's been a lot of cash withdrawals recently on my mom's card. I check and there's nearly a year's worth of $300 to $400 withdrawn. We call my sister, who is handling the finances, and she is confused and says she never takes out any cash and only pays bills with the bank card and uses the credit card for the groceries, etc. She freezes the bank card, and I take a red eye over. Long story short, we asked the bank where the ATM withdrawal happened. My sister looks shocked when she Googles the location and realizes it's close to her son's school. We waited until the son got home and asked him where he worked, and he said a local restaurant. We said he would like to go with him to the restaurant to confirm he works there, and he got really panicked and said that the management just changed so that he wouldn't know, so they wouldn't know him.
Oh boy, oh boy.
I asked for his paycheck, and finally he gives up and admits he doesn't have a job. My sister asked him where the money for the new stuff he bought home comes from, and he admits he steals the bank card to make cash withdrawals. I asked him where he got the pin, and my sister confessed she writes her pins on sticky notes so she doesn't forget them. Which, I mean...
It's your mom's card. Yeah. It's not your own... Yeah, I would...
In your own house? Like, yeah. Especially if you just have, like, 4 digits written down. People aren't going to know what that means. Yeah. They would assume. But, like, yeah. I take the bank statements and calculate that he owes $14,308.
Oh, my God! What?
That's so bad.
Oh! That's a lot of money. Bro.
I didn't read this one first.
Shit.
I told him he has to pay it back now, but that's not good. You shouldn't be forcing kids to pay back money like that. That's not just okay.
Like stealing from them.
I told him he has to pay it back now, or I'm filing a police report on him for theft, and my sister begs me not to, saying if he has anything on his record, he might not get into college. I told her I won't if she pays it, but she said she's struggling and doesn't have the money. She's a single mother. I told her that wasn't good enough, and she complains her son is only 16 and doesn't know any better. That's not good.
Then you're doing a shitty job as a mother if your 16-year-old does not know
that stealing is wrong.
Oh my God. That much money?
That's a lot of money.
It was like $20 here, $20 there. Like, they'll never realize, but that's a lot of money.
That's a lot of money. Yep.
Oh my God.
I told her they won't put a 16-year-old in jail, but he might do it again when he's older, so it's better to learn his lesson now. She said we can just take that out of what her son's inheritance would be from our mom, and I yell at her that if our mom was in a state to judge, she would write him out of her will for this. I call up my lawyer and ask what I should do, and he suggests filing a police report, but not including my nephew's name just yet. I did just that, and my sister is screaming at me that I'm ruining her son's life by involving the police, and he's only a kid. I'm not happy about it, but at 16, if he's stealing from his own grandma, who looked after him when his mom was sick, I can't imagine what he would do when he's older.
He is well aware of what he is doing.
Yep.
16-year-olds could be tried as adults in some situations. Like, he is well aware of what he's doing.
Oh, yeah. That's so fucked up. Like, that much money from your grandmother?
As someone who just had a grandparent pass away from Alzheimer's, I can't even imagine.
I can't imagine that. Like, that's the money that they're supposed to be living on because they can't take care of themselves anymore. Yeah. Like, that's so fucked up.
Yeah. like inheritance.
Yeah,
like that's her money.
Son, that is your inheritance. You're done. You got nothing else, and you're still going to pay it back. Like I would agree. If I would go and see if I could get power of attorney over my mother and write him out of the will. That's what I would do.
Yeah, you don't get nothing.
Nothing.
That's garbage.
Yep.
Oh, kid, and the whole like you're ruining his life and he won't get into college. He did that himself.
Yep.
And he was just hoping he wouldn't get caught. Because guess what? He wasn't going to tell you.
But and he lied to you telling you he had a job.
Yeah. What else is he lying to you about, mama? Yeah. Just because you're a single mom and you don't have eyes everywhere doesn't mean your kid is a little angel.
Nope.
Apparently. Oh, man.
Yeah, that makes me mad. I fucking hate children.
Teenagers suck. I don't want a teen. Adam should just stay small forever.
Yeah, he's so cute as a little 4-year-old. He's only 5 soon, isn't he? No,
he just turned 4.
He just turned 4.
Yeah. That's why I got confused with the book. I noticed that you said he just turned 4.
Yeah, because he's 5. Yeah, he's 5. I was like, no, he just turned 4. And she's like, you were at his birthday. There was a 5 on his cake. I was like, he's 4.
Someone's 4. Someone. You have a lot of
I've got
children.
A lot. Yeah, there's a lot of them.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm the fun aunt. I just get to hang out with the kids.
Yeah.
So, yep. Which I need to go see the boy soon. He's so cute. Does he still do the here comes the boy?
Yeah.
Okay. So am I the asshole for pretending to my girlfriend that I'm broke?
I'm gonna say yep.
We've been together for 2 years. I've always known that my girlfriend had expensive taste. It wasn't a real issue back when we first got started, or when we were first getting started. A couple of months ago, she dreamt of me proposing to her, and she told me that she would turn me down because the ring wasn't nice enough. We both laughed it off, but deep inside I knew that's exactly how she'd react if a particular dream happened in real life.
Oh, jeez.
She had a dream of her proposing.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Okay. Looking back, she only ever talked about me with her family and friends whenever I achieved something. Promotions where I worked, profession, you get that idea. Earlier this year, I filed for permanent work from home status. I've been pretending to be unemployed, living in an extremely frugal lifestyle since then. It has only been 2 months, but everything's way more different, for the worse now. I feel like I'm in a constant competition with her phone for her attention. Intimacy, anything physical, not just sex, is a tenth of what it used to be. We've talked about this. The problem is that her words are almost the complete opposite of her actions. I think I've accomplished the goal of this little role play of mine. I refuse to accept that bringing in money is all there is to my value or worth, whatever that means. But at the same time, for the same reason, I can't just bring myself to put an end to the relationship. Am I an asshole? I think you should just break up with her, dude.
Yeah,
like, you shouldn't have to keep hiding who you are.
You shouldn't have lied in the first place. No. Like, that seems too
Well, I mean, I can kind of understand of him being like, is it my money that she wants me for, or is it me?
I guess. But I could see maybe, like, in the moment, you being like, oh man, I lost my job. Mm-hmm. What do you think about that?
Yeah.
Like, that's different than putting on a charade for 2 months to see how it affects your relationship.
Yeah.
Like, that's a lot.
Yeah. I know, because, like, it very much seems like she's only wanting to be with him for his money.
Yeah.
And you shouldn't have to live that way. Like, that's not how you should live your life, and you shouldn't feel that you need to lie to your girlfriend to be able to keep money. Like, that's... Yeah, that's...
And to catch her in her awfulness. Like, that... And that's all just kind of sketchy. I don't like any of that.
I don't like that at all.
No. Just break up.
Yeah, I don't like that.
Because you know you're going to stay in the relationship and you're eventually going to have to buy her a ring because you're going to. And then, like, nah. No.
Yeah, no.
That's all icky. Get out.
Am I the asshole for not acting happy when I found out my wife was pregnant?
Oh.
Okay, so I, 28 male, have been married to my wife, Caroline, 28 female, for a year. Everything has been going relatively smoothly. We're doing well and are generally on the same page about our plans. We both do very well for ourselves financially, and we have a solid amount saved so far. Last week, Caroline came to me and told me that she was pregnant. I have had so many emotions at the moment. 1, I was scared about whether we're financially and emotionally ready to raise a baby. 2, I was kind of happy, obviously, that I'm going to be a dad. Smiley face. And 3, I was concerned about what this was going to do for our future plans education-wise, since we're both planning on going to graduate school soon. I don't like him. In the moment, I kind of acted more shocked than happy. I started asking a lot of questions and asked her what her plans were and what were the next steps she wanted to take. I was literally shaking in the moment. I kept prodding and asking questions, and after a few minutes of this, she told me she expected me to be happy for us and walked out of the room. I want to be excited, but at the same time, I'm literally getting pounded with like 10 different emotions at the same time. Her mom called me and said that I should just put it aside and act happy, and I told her straight up I'm freaking out. She started telling me that I'm acting immature and that I'm being a bad husband. I feel so terrible, but I also think it's natural to not have to act happy. Am I the asshole? And then he has a couple of clarifying things.
I don't think he's an asshole, but I do think it would have obviously gone over better if he was tried to be happier in the moment, and then maybe like the next day be like, okay, so what are we gonna do about the rest of our lives?
I think yeah,
because that's a very sensitive thing.
Yeah,
and like obviously you were playing your part to do something about this, sir. Right. So like something was going on. I don't know.
Yeah, well, he's got some updates.
Okay,
So first one. Okay, I just want to clarify, I'm not a sexist like people are trying to make it seem. I mentioned asking about her career plans more from a financial standpoint. I want to be able to provide for our child and wanted to know if she plans to work. It was obviously a stupid question in the moment, but I was nervous. Another update. Yes, I tried the pull out.
Don't pull
and
out.
I'm an idiot. I'm not going to try and even deny it, even though since it's only 20% risk, I might as well since I'm married and stuff. Stupid reasons looking back, but no regrets. I'm happy I'm going to be a dad. Edit. Big update here. She was in the kitchen getting some water, and I straight up walked up to her and hugged her. I told her I'm happy and that I want to do this together. I told her how much this means to me and that I'm 28, have my degree, and have a stable job. I included this to reinforce that we are stable enough to do this, and that I'm completely ready to commit to being a dad, and that I believe that she's ready to be a great mom, too. She was emotional, honestly felt like a movie scene, and it all just took 5 minutes. I filled up her cup with water and told her to relax. She's sleeping now, but I feel better. I'm happy, but I'm still nervous about everything. Which you have every right to be. Yeah, that's totally fair. Like,
but you don't want to be like, I'm pregnant, and have your husband be like, shit.
Yeah.
What are we doing? Like, that is not the reaction you want to be met with.
No.
Like, obviously, you guys aren't trying to change your situation, but I would hope that if you were like, hey, guess what? Like, Zach's first reaction would be like, fuck. You know? Like,
I have no idea. Yeah. My first reaction would probably be fuck.
I mean, yeah, that's fair. But, like, you know, there should be, like, some excitement hopefully there. I don't know. And I don't really understand how, like, there's been a couple times where he's been like, we're in a great place and everything's going well. And then he's like, but I panicked because we're not.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's like, one thing to have, like, to be like, yeah, I think we're financially stable enough that if an emergency happens, we'll be okay.
Yeah.
But kids can be expensive.
Yeah,
so,
but
like,
they were planning on going to school. That's expensive as hell, too. So it's like...
But maybe that's where he thought they were financially stable, is that they were like, we can go to school, we can get the careers that we wanted because she wants to go to school and get the career she wants, kind of thing.
And now that's on hold a little bit or something. Yeah, I guess that's true.
Yeah.
But I just, like, I don't know.
I just get mad when people are like, you shouldn't be having these feelings. And I'm like, people are allowed to feel the way they want to feel.
Yeah. I'm glad he corrected the situation.
Yeah.
Like,
well, especially because he's happy to be a dad. But, like, that's always got to be... Like, I'm sure when you guys found out you were pregnant, you were like, okay, what do we do?
What?
Yeah, like, what? Now what? Like, that's...
Yeah, there's always the planning and, like, the... Because, you know, unless you're, like, diligently trying and, like, this is your goal for months or whatever, like, it's a surprise and you weren't expecting it or, you know, whatever. Like, and you're always... Even if you're trying, like... There's only so much of a chance that you're actually going to get pregnant each month. So you never know what's going to happen. Yeah. So it's like, yay. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know.
And yeah, maybe he was thinking like that they weren't going to have kids for a couple of years or something, you know, especially like, I guess it depends on how long they've been dating, but I mean, couples who are like just get together, they just got married, they're suddenly having kids. I feel like that's not enough time for them to be a couple. Yeah. You know,
be yourselves first. Yeah, that's what's great about the great state we live in.
Yeah.
Like, I was only married for a little while before we got pregnant with Adam, but, like, we had been together for, like, 3 or 4 years before that.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, I personally, like, and I am Mormon, so, like, but I really think that people should be spending more time. Like, I think if you're going to marry a person within, like, 6 months of being with them.
But half the time they don't even wait that long.
Exactly, yeah.
They're not even together
But I'm
that
like,
long.
yeah, but I think you should be waiting at least a year to get married. And
then, like, a year after that to, like, because you have to live with the person.
Oh, yeah.
Because most LDS people don't live with each other before they get married because you're not supposed to, which is fine. Do what you want. But, like, you don't know if they leave their socks on the floor. You don't know if they help with the dishes.
You don't know.
You don't know shit about this person.
You don't know if they take a new roll of toilet paper and put it on the floor instead of putting it on the roll. But, I mean, I just tease Zach about it now. It doesn't bother. Yeah. Like, it's really not a bother. Like...
But yeah, like, you don't know anything about this person. Like,
yep. And even still, like, when Zach and I first got married, we were dating for 4 years, and then we were living together, and that first year was the fucking hardest.
It's hard, yeah.
It was so hard.
Yeah.
Like...
Especially if you've been, like, with roommates or living on your own. Like, having someone in your space all the time, in your room, in your kitchen, doing your things, like, spending all that time together, like, that's a big adjustment. And then you throw in pregnancy hormones.
Yeah.
Or a kid, or whatever, like, that's a lot.
That's a lot. And, like, what if they were living in, like, the tiniest of apartments? What if, like, there's not enough space for that? Like, that's just, there's a lot of things that go into it. I'm not saying don't be happy. You should be happy, and you, like...
But there are other things. Yeah. Yeah. There are things to worry about. And, yeah.
Yeah. People just act like babies are just... It's perfect. Everything's perfect now. Yeah. And I'm like, it's not. No. There's a lot that goes into it. If you want your baby to be happy and healthy in an environment that it can thrive in, like, for sure. Maybe living in a 1-bedroom flat isn't gonna, like, not really gonna work. Isn't gonna work. But, and I mean, everybody can figure things out. But, like, I'm not saying you can't live in a 1-bedroom flat. But, like, it's just... If that's not the life you wanted for your kids.
What I'm saying is if your wife, who is very hormonal, comes up to you and tells you that she's pregnant...
You be happy.
Maybe just don't say anything yet if you're not feeling happy.
You just like,
whoa. Like, honey, whoa. Let me hug you.
Yeah, like, because you can totally be shocked, especially if you weren't expecting to be pregnant. Yeah. Like, I'm sure she would be like, oh my gosh. And he just would not stop being like...
like, he gasped for 10 minutes
like, how funny of a story is that? I think that would be hilarious. Right? If like, you went to your spouse and you're like, hey, I'm pregnant, and they're like, like, I think that would be funny, but, like, that's me. Yeah. I'm not hormonal, so, like...
Exactly. I'm just saying tread lightly, I guess, is what that's what I'm getting at. Yeah. Girls be sensitive. Yeah. Man. Pregnant people be sensitive. Whatever you want to say. Yeah. But yeah, I just... He's not an asshole. No. And he fixed it.
Yeah, he fixed it. So. But, like, I very much agree that he should have maybe waited to bring all of it up instead of right in the moment.
Just, like, be in the moment and just be like, wow. Yep. Baby.
You can feel all these things, but you need to pick a priority, and your spouse is, like, that's
read the room and gauge her emotions. Yep. And if she's like, I'm pregnant. Like, that's one thing. You can be like, oh, okay. Well, no. But if she's like, honey, like, you need to be like,
having a big
wow.
Yep. Wow. It's called tact, sir.
Yes. Yep. Have some.
Yep.
A little bit.
Well, I thought you would like that. Thanks. Just a nice little easy stick. Because I will do the movie next week. I will take my notes. I just did not have time this week. You're fine. So
it's been a week. Yep. That's for sure. So I do not mind just chilling and laughing and having a good time.
I'm like, these are fun.
Hopefully people don't mind that there's two. Movies are fun. We'll get back into it. Yeah. That's fine.
I know, I'm like, sometimes I feel like I need to watch, like, a good movie. Yeah. To, like, break up the monotony of the
maybe we should try that too. Like, bring in a couple of really good horror movies and be like, let me tell you about how awesome it was.
I can do that.
I mean, cool.
I can totally do that. So, all right. Well, thanks everyone for listening.
Hopefully you enjoyed. Yeah. We love you. Have a great time.
Have a great time. Thank you guys so much for listening to this week's episode. Let us know what you think by leaving a comment or sending us an email at bmoviebashpodcast@gmail.com.
You can listen to our episodes on all your favorite podcast platforms, including Spotify, Stitcher, Google, Apple, Amazon Music, and Audible, or you can find the video versions on our YouTube channel.
If you want to support the podcast, you can find our Ko-fi link on our Anchor page. Make sure to like, subscribe, and tell your friends.